Oh shoot! Am I using my microphone? Can you hear me?
I can now.
Oh shit! Oh. I'm already ruined it. Heard this
Not as real as it gets on a Friday,
uh,
right?
not YouTube worthy now. Um, all right, we're on Real Talk. You know what? Try to get that out of the view. Real Talk Friday here on Affiliate Nerd Out. My guest, as always, Kristen Evans. Thanks for joining me. And I got my backwards hat and my backwards chair, and I'm ready to talk some real talk. What do you want to talk about, Kristen?
Um, I want to talk about potential, I think.
Potential. All
Yeah.
right.
That's something that I've been thinking a lot about today. I just had a call with a potential new publisher in the space who has been working kind of with Adam Weiss for a while now. But Adam Weiss has a big boy job now. Congratulations, Adam.
Uh,
And this guy has a really cool concept, a really cool idea, but um, and like it's something that I think a lot of brands could be really interested in. But he just doesn't really know how to get into the space. And so I was talking to him about it today, and there were a couple things that like my brain was like, I don't know how to like pitch this 100%, and that's usually unusual for me. Like I can pitch something pretty easily. And then I had the idea of like, maybe we should get this in front of a big brand to get the feedback, right? Like actually get the feedback loop. Like, why don't we call like the guys at Fanatics and like just have kind of a discovery call with them and see what they say, what their reaction is to it, and be able to kind of like utilize that as like what is the potential for this product and how are we going to be able to like build this up. And I don't know, it's something that I was thinking about too when I was working with I'm working with a couple wedding publishers right now, and like there's so much potential for them. And I think that like it's such a big driver for me is like the word potential, like the ability to like fill this gap and like make something happen, is probably like one of my biggest motivators. But yeah, that's kind of where my
mm.
brain was.
And I get that, and the folks that have the most potential have a bunch of content that is probably not monetized in
Mm,
the right sense yet. That could use some love and your expertise, and I see that every single day. And coaching these affiliates or potential partners, big part of our
mhm.
job, which is can be grinding, especially if they're needy, but they're good relationships for the future as
Yeah.
well. Like I've nurtured some really small affiliates into monster affiliates, and they still talk to me today, which is great.
Love that for you. Yeah, I think one of the things that has always made me like feel really successful is like when that potential is actualized, and like whether that's growing a little brand that could into something, big and prosperous, or helping, kind of get that light bulb moment with a publishing partner, where they're like, oh my God, no, okay, I get it, and then you see them like go off and flourish and like make a bunch of money and be really successful, like that actualized potential. And I'm sure it's that way for a lot of people. I think some people are financially driven, some people are like career ladder driven. And for me, it's like realizing that like somebody's potential has been actualized and like I helped them get to that point.
Yeah, that is a very nice feeling for
Yeah, that's
sure.
actually why the tagline for Spark Partnerships is potential is pure joy. I got that out of Daisy Jones and the Six, which is a great book if you haven't read it. I know it's a TV show as well, but there's a line in there where they're like, potential is pure fucking joy. And I was like, I literally stopped when I saw the line and I was like, that's it. That's my tagline, like immediately. And I said it to my husband and he's like, yeah, no, that's on point.
I
Yeah.
love it. Um, I think being that I do so much coaching with affiliate managers, uh, that might be the hardest thing to teach. Is how do you recognize potential in things like you're doing your applications throughout the day,
Mhm.
right? uh, how do you go through that list and look at a site and see this has a potential for a great opportunity, and now how do I go and hone it? But like, how would you teach that? Like, I don't know the answer today.
Yeah, I think that's an especially hard one, because there's no, like, textbook about our industry and
Mm,
about our space, and there's no, like, real, like, hard and firm on, like, who's gonna do well and who's not going to do well, you know? I mean, I kind of look at it as not everybody, but, like, the vast majority of real true applicants have potential, right? Like, there's a lot of trash out there, but those that are not trash, everybody has a level of potential, and it really comes down to, are they educated enough to know what that potential is, and are they empowered enough to move forward with that potential, you know? It's
mhm.
like the best way, in my mind, to help somebody establish that is communication, communicating what your brand offers are, communicating best practices, communicating kind of, all of the industrial knowledge history that we've been able to get just sharing it, helps, I think, a lot more people realize their potential, because the less people know, then the less they're unable to realize what they're capable of. But the more, the more choices, the more empowered you are to make decisions. And I think that's the same thing with affiliate managers and going through applications. Like, the more you know, the better you are. And the only way you get to that point is for us to share the information and to share the knowledge that we've gained.
Hmm. Yeah, that's well said. I don't know what else to add on to that, but Cassandra's got some a quote like, "Did have left the F word in your tagline."
Honestly, it's really
A
hard
part
for me to take it out. If anybody knows me, swearing is part of, like, my literal life.
Yeah,
And my first word ever was shit. Like, honestly, and but it was just I think that was just a business decision. Like, people who
sure.
know me well enough know that I would, love to leave that in, but on a professional level, I don't think it was necessary.
Yeah, I'm always have the sentiment of professionalism is overrated, but we all have our
Yeah.
limits. We also need
We
clients.
also need clients, yeah.
Right. Recognize that we're not savages.
I'll never forget the time that, I had, I think it was my first solo speaking session at Affiliate Summit, and, one of the pieces of feedback I received was, a bit crass in speech, and at the time I was like, "What?" Like, I was kind of, like, grumpy about it, and then I was like, "Oh, wait, that's actually hilarious," and I added it as a tagline in all of my social media profiles, as well as, like, my normal bio that I use for everything. So, like, any speaking bio or anything has a bit crass in speech in the bio. Because, why not just carry the branding all the way through? Yeah.
Beautiful. Why not is
What's
right.
on your mind this week, Dustin?
I don't have much. It's been a wild one. I'm finding that I have less and less of a calendar for people to book calls with me to do consulting anymore. Like, my consulting's booked out from too many
Well, it's just
calls.
because you have, like, 5
And
projects going on right now.
yeah, but only 5.
5.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've got to find that fix in place of like, hey, I've got this in my calendar for just demos of Affy Stash, and I've got this in my calendar for just one-on-one phone calls with friends or like opportunities to make some kind of
Mhm.
partnership. I've got to siphon out my calendar a little bit better because right now it went from it's just out of control. Like people, I give people my calendar link. They're like, there are no openings. What am I supposed to do with this,
Well,
Dustin?
it's hard to actually get anything done if you're, like, that booked up too,
Oh, yeah.
Like, busyness is kind of the death of productivity. And that, yeah, just be careful with that.
Right. And I am losing that time of production. Like I've got 5 email addresses to balance at this point, and now I've got to like I am a 0 inbox fan, and I can't get them all to 0 inbox. It's impossible.
I'm
Just literally
somehow
impossible.
surprised that you were a 0 inbox fan. I thought you would be a little bit more chaotic like me. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I mean, I would expect 0 inbox out of Marchese, but I definitely thought you had a little bit more chaos gremlin in you. I have never been an inbox 0 girly. I am a digital hoarder. If you look at my desktop, famously, when I gave the keynote speech at Share Sell Think Tank in 2016, yeah, it was the year Dexter was born. Their computer wasn't working with my slide deck, so they had to use my computer.
Yeah.
Very briefly, for a moment, my entire desktop flashed up on the monitor, and there was an audible like "oh" from the crowd. And yeah, my habits have not changed. Honestly, they've probably gotten worse. I take screenshots of stuff, and it all lives on my computer, and I am just a digital hoarder. But I have receipts, so if anybody ever needs receipts, I have them.
I am the guy that goes in the crowd. I am always the person. I love seeing that when somebody shares their screen and they got 1,000 emails unread. I'm like, what are you doing? Also, like I wonder what what is the appropriate amount of tabs that somebody has open is a good question. Do you have a number in your mind?
I mean, I can tell you the most I've counted up at the end of the day.
Okay.
87 one time.
87 your ground.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was on a
That's
single
very
window though. Like I will often have like 3 different windows with multiple tabs per window. Like Karen Garcia yelled at me one time about it. She was just like, it's slowing down your computer. Yeah, no, my neuro sparkliness definitely leads me down multiple rabbit holes at a time, which always results
sure.
in multiple windows, multiple tabs. Yeah, it's messy.
It is messy, and mine's the same. I don't like if I were to guess right now how many are open, it's probably in that 50 range. I just don't close them, and then I have like each individual client has its own Chrome page essentially that I'm taking care of. But when somebody shares their screen and I see that they have 100 tabs open, I'm like, ugh. This person is terribly unorganized. But on the other hand, if they have like 3, then I'm like, I don't trust this person. Like, the nerve. Like, what do you have nothing to do?
You obviously can't be working. Like,
I don't know what the right balance, the number is that I trust the person enough to like want to do visit.
Because they're either like neurotic in one way or neurotic in the other way. There's no happy balance.
Yeah. So let's just say 22 for the sake of argument. 22 is the appropriate amount of tabs you should have
window.
Open. Yes, per window.
Per window.
All right. Yeah. We got to keep this under 15 minutes per our scale. Right. So fun as always. We'll catch you same time next week.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Out there.
All right. Yeah. There y'all.